There are hundreds of project management techniques that you need to master as a project manager. But I've been working as an IT project manager for more than 10 years, and I noticed that I use only 8 techniques on a regular basis. So in this video we will review these 8 critical project management techniques, and I will explain the main use cases for them. Let's dive in. So the first technique is Delphi Technique, and this technique allows you to make educated decisions even in the areas where you have no knowledge or expertise by using the knowledge of subject matter experts. For example, you need to make a technical decision for your project, but you have no knowledge of solutions or technologies in this area. For sure, you will start with a basic research on your own to understand what problem we are trying to solve. Then you'll create a list of questions that you'll provide to subject matter experts. And here's the catch. You can ask the subject matter experts to explain you the technology or the problem that it solves in simple words. It can be your first question. So you send the set of questions to these subject matter experts and collect his or her answers. Then you analyze the information that you collected, and maybe you come up with some follow-up questions that will speed up the process. The next step is to go to another expert and ask him or her the same questions as if you know nothing about the problem or this technology that you need to get familiar with. And you repeat this process with as many experts as you have or as it's practical. Then you need to analyze the whole set of information that you collected. You need to see on which questions the experts provided the similar answers and for which questions they have some disagreements. After that, you compile all the information in one report and you show the areas where the experts are in agreement, and you will create more questions related to the areas where they disagree. You may want to come up to a common understanding of the problem by initiating a discussion between the subject matter experts, or you can continue surveying them independently. To make this process most efficient, you need to ensure that separate experts don't communicate with one another and they don't know that you survey them on this very question. This way they will provide unbiased opinion on the problem and the best solution for your project. Okay, moving on to the second critical technique, it's called the bottom-up estimate. So if you want to make an accurate estimate for your project, you need to start with the requirements and identifying the 100% of project scope first. And the idea is simple. You need to create a work breakdown structure and decompose the project into deliverables, work packages, and then into activities or tasks. And the key point here is that you continue to decompose the work until you get to the level where a task is clearly understood by the person who needs to do it, and one person can do it on his or her own. And only then you start to estimate the duration and the cost and required resources for each small task that you and people on your team understand. After that, you sum up all these estimates to work packages level and then to deliverables level, and this way you get the most accurate estimate for your project because you actually estimated the simplest tasks that don't have much ambiguity in them. If you want to learn more about scope management and work breakdown structure, how to do this decomposition before you can estimate the project, I'll leave you several links in the description below this video. Do check them after you watch this video. The next project management technique that you need to master is the alternative generation. As a project manager, it's your responsibility to identify the real goal of the project. And what you need to understand is that there are actually a multitude of ways to reach this goal. Project success is usually not a single point, it's a range of possible results. That's why when you hit the project constraints or you find that it's not feasible to implement some requirements in the project, you need to generate alternatives. You need to develop a skill of creating the next best alternative for the client. what would be the best next alternative to generate the same business value, but maybe in a different way. And you'll face two common use cases here. You'll either need to change or adapt the requirements so you can implement them easier and faster and cheaper, or you need to somehow alter the project plan or team composition so that you can fit into the constraints of time, budget, and scope of the project. And great project managers are always proactive. If you face a problem, you'll try to generate several alternatives that will overcome this problem. Okay, let's move on and talk about the brainstorming technique. This is the most critical technique in project management because you need to leverage all the best knowledge and expertise of your project team. You can apply brainstorming in various ways for risk identification, for problem solving, for identifying possible solutions, and so on. The key point here is that you as a project manager need to facilitate the brainstorming session rather than be a part of it. You don't want to influence the judgment of your team members and prevent them from generating all the possible ideas that they have. So give some space for your team members and stakeholders to generate all the ideas, and only then prioritize and analyze these ideas and make decisions based on them. The next one is a group of techniques that you need to master. It's all about prioritization, and you need to prioritize on many different levels. On project requirements level, on the activities in project management that you need to do first and the second and the third, and last but not least, your personal time and efforts. You need to be able to prioritize your tasks on a daily basis. For various project management activities, you can use the good old Eisenhower's matrix of urgency and importance. For daily work, for example, I use the rule of big three tasks, and I explain it in my video series of A Day in Life of a Project Manager. I'll leave you a link in the description as well. And by the way, if you enjoyed this video so far, do me a favor. Click the pause and give it a thumbs up. This way you'll signal me that you want to learn more about project management and leadership. Thanks in advance. Moving on to the active listening technique. And this is critical because stakeholders are quite often misleading. You need to understand that stakeholders and clients and people in general tell you what they think will solve a problem or that will provide you the best guidance. But it's not always the truth, and it's not always the full information that you need, and sometimes they didn't think through several aspects of the problem and they provided misleading information. And to avoid that, you need to apply active listening all the time. And the idea is simple. You first listen to the person carefully, you don't interrupt him or her. Then you try to rephrase what this person told you and speak it up to this person to confirm that you got the idea. And when you start to apply this technique, you'll notice that people very often will say something like, "Oh, I didn't think about it," or "I didn't meant exactly that," or "I'm not sure about this." And this allows you to ask follow-up questions and dig deeper to find the actual and correct information. Next we have the root cause analysis, and you will apply it all the time. And the idea is simple, that you see a problem and there is a negative impact that's on the surface, but the root cause is usually different, and you need to dig deeper to understand what it is. In its simplest form, this technique requires just your mental bandwidth or brainstorming with the team, but some experts may apply different visualization or scoring techniques to improve the process. There are three common use cases that I want you to consider. First of all, you need to apply root cause analysis on strategic level, on the project management level. You need to understand why we do different processes and why they are efficient. For example, you can try to do the root cause analysis and try to identify why the absence of a work breakdown structure leads to inaccurate estimates. Then you want to do the root cause analysis on tactical, on day-to-day level. You always want to analyze the workflows that you have in the project team, and if you have an issue, you want to track back through the workflow to find the root cause of this problem. And last but not least, you can apply this technique for stakeholder analysis. You want to try to find out why certain stakeholders behave in a certain way during a certain period of time. This will help you to understand what events impact the decisions of different stakeholders. Also, we have the documentation review technique, which is critical for risk management and review of the requirements in general. You need to learn to efficiently read through the documentation that you create, or your team creates, or your clients provide, and find ambiguities, inconsistencies, and simply blunders. And the main problem is that you can put unlimited efforts into the documentation review, and you need to find a spot when to stop. So I suggest that you apply 80-20 rule, and you do the reviews regularly and quickly, and you want to identify the 80% of the blunders and ambiguities in the documentation, spending as little time as possible. And also, it's not only about you reviewing the documentation, because you need to include the whole team and their expertise in reviewing all the documents on the project, including requirements and project management plan. Okay, I want to ask you one question. After this video, what one technique you want to learn more in depth? Is it Delphi technique or alternative generation technique? Leave me a simple comment below this video, thank you in advance. And if you want to learn what techniques I apply in risk management, do watch this video next, or this one here that YouTube suggests to you. Click one of these videos now and I'll talk to you there. See you later, bye bye.